All right, let's dive into something that's at the very heart of how we connect with people, our attachment style. In this explainer, we're going to break down what these styles are, where they even come from, and, this is the big one, how they're secretly running the show in our most important relationships. Let's get into it. So, have you ever found yourself wondering this? I mean, it's a feeling a lot of us know, right? You find yourself in these similar situations, hitting the same walls in relationship after relationship. It can be so frustrating, but guess what? There's a really powerful reason why this happens. And the answer lies in something called attachment theory. The best way to think about it is like a map for understanding your own personal relationship blueprint. The basic idea is that those very first bonds we had with our caregivers, well, they created a kind of template for connection that we unknowingly carry with us for the rest of our lives. Okay, so let's unfold that map. The theory usually breaks things down into 4 main attachment styles. And honestly, just getting a handle on these is the first massive step to seeing your own patterns and the patterns of the people you care about. This chart right here is a perfect snapshot of the whole thing. You can see it lays out the 4 styles: secure, anxious, avoidant, and disorganized. And look, it shows you where they might come from, what they look like, how each one deals with emotions. It's all there. We're going to dig into each one, but this is kind of our guide for the journey. First up, we've got secure attachment. You can think of this as the solid foundation for healthy, balanced relationships. If you have a secure style, you're generally pretty comfortable with getting close to people. You tend to trust yourself and others, and you see relationships as a safe place to be. Next, let's talk about the anxious style. Now, the thing that's really running the show here is a deep, deep fear of being abandoned. This can lead to being really preoccupied with the relationship, having pretty intense emotional ups and downs, and needing a lot of reassurance to feel safe and loved. And then we have the avoidant style. For someone with this style, independence is everything. They really value self-sufficiency. Because of that, they can get pretty uncomfortable with too much closeness and might even push their own feelings down to keep that distance. For them, vulnerability can feel, well, kind of dangerous, so they pull back. And finally, there's the disorganized style. This one is often the most complex because it's built on a really painful contradiction, a deep human need for connection right alongside an intense fear of it. It creates this internal push-pull, which can lead to behavior that seems confusing or unpredictable because they're literally caught between wanting to get close and wanting to run away. So that covers the what, but what about the why? I mean, where do these patterns that feel so automatic actually come from? Understanding our own origin story is so important for having a little more compassion for ourselves and for others too. And here's the thing you really got to get. This all starts so early. Our brains are basically hardwired for connection from the moment we're born. And it's the quality of those first interactions that lays the groundwork. If care was consistent and responsive, that often leads to a secure style. But if it was inconsistent or maybe even neglectful, that can lead to one of the insecure styles. This slide just shows how deep this stuff really goes. On the left, you see the psychological part, our internal working models. That's just a fancy way of saying the core beliefs we form about ourselves and other people. But look at the right side. That's the biology. This isn't just in our heads, it's literally in our bodies. These early experiences actually shape our brain chemistry, our hormones, and even how our nervous system reacts to threats. Our attachment style gets physically wired into us. Okay, so how does all this theory actually play out in real life? You know, when the rubber meets the road in our adult relationships, especially when things get stressful or there's a conflict.
Well, when our insecure attachment system gets triggered, we usually default to one of 2 main strategies. There are hyper-activating strategies, which is like trying to turn the volume up on the relationship to get a reaction. That's the anxious style's go-to. And then there are deactivating strategies, which is all about turning the volume down and creating distance. That's the signature move of the avoidance style.
Let's look a little closer at hyperactivating. It's really fueled by that deep fear of being left behind. So it might look like clinging or constantly worrying if the relationship is okay. It's all a desperate attempt to close the distance and get that reassurance. And on the flip side, deactivating is all about creating space. It's a defense mechanism, really. It involves downplaying how much you need connection, pushing feelings away, and just retreating back into self-reliance, where it feels a whole lot safer. And remember the disorganized style? Well, for them, it can often look like a confusing mix of both.
They might desperately reach out for connection 1 minute, that's hyperactivating, and then suddenly push you away the next, that's deactivating. It can create a lot of instability.
Okay, check this out, because this table makes things super practical. Look at what usually triggers each style during a fight. For an anxious person, it's feeling rejected. For an avoidant person, it's feeling pressured for closeness. But the most important part is the path to resolution. The anxious style needs reassurance. The avoidant style needs space. You can see why understanding this stuff is a total game changer.
Now, I know hearing all this might feel a little intense, like it's all predetermined, but here is the single most important thing I want you to take away. Your attachment style is not a life sentence. It's your starting point, not your destiny. You absolutely have the power to change it.
This quote right here, it's one of the most powerful first steps you can take. Just because you feel like you're about to be abandoned, or you think your partner is pulling away, that doesn't automatically make it true. Learning to just pause and question those automatic reactions is the key to creating a new path forward. And look, the goal isn't to magically become perfectly secure tomorrow. It's about building what psychologists call earned security. This is a secure attachment that you develop as an adult, through self-awareness, through conscious work, and by learning new ways of relating to people. It's a security you build for yourself, piece by piece.
So what does that actually look like? Well, it boils down to practicing a few core skills. As you can see here, we're talking about things like open communication, learning to really tune into your partner, setting good boundaries, and, of course, committing to your own growth. These aren't just fluffy ideas. They're real, actionable tools that build trust and make your relationships feel safe.
So as we wrap this up, I'll just leave you with this question to think about. After everything we've gone over, the 4 styles, where they come from, how they show up under pressure, what's one thing that really clicked for you? What's one little insight you can take away from this and maybe apply in your own life, starting today?